Have you ever noticed how effortlessly we tap our cards for a £5 takeaway coffee, a quick supermarket meal deal, or a streaming subscription we barely use? We do it without a second thought. But the moment someone mentions investing in the stock market, we suddenly feel like we don't have enough money, enough time, or enough expertise to get started. We have been conditioned to believe that building wealth requires a massive lump sum of cash or some secret Wall Street insider knowledge. But what if I told you that the exact same £5 you spend on autopilot every single day could be the key to quietly building a tax-free fortune over the next few years? Welcome back to Quiet Wealth. If you are new here, hi, I'm Amara, a former investment banker turned financial educator. And on this channel, we focus on playing the behind-the-scenes wealth game rather than the highly visible, exhausting status game. Today, we're going to talk about a highly specific, incredibly actionable system I call the £5 a day AI wealth strategy. I am going to show you exactly how the quietly wealthy are positioning themselves to take advantage of the massive artificial intelligence revolution that is happening right now, and exactly how you can set up the same automated system for yourself using just your spare change. Now, just to be clear, I am not a financial advisor, and this video is purely for entertainment purposes. Investing in the stock market can be risky, and you may lose some or all of your money. Always take financial advice and be sure of the risks. To understand why this strategy works, we first have to understand a fundamental difference in how wealthy people think about their time and their money. The middle class often relies on sheer willpower and discipline to save money. They promise themselves they will spend less this month, but then life gets busy, stress builds up, and that willpower eventually runs out. The quietly wealthy, on the other hand, know that discipline is entirely unreliable. Instead of relying on motivation, they prioritize their time and their mental energy by building automated systems. They make a good financial decision exactly once, and then they let technology do the heavy lifting in the background. They treat their investments like a mandatory bill that must be paid before they even have a chance to spend the money. This brings us to the core of our strategy today, which is a simple daily savings challenge that turns your spare change into serious money using a tax-free ISA and the world's best-performing growth investments. You don't need a complicated business plan or thousands of pounds to get started. The discipline required is remarkably simple. You just treat this investment like a daily bill you absolutely must pay, perhaps by choosing to skip just one takeaway coffee per day. That single choice frees up your £5. If you do that every single day, it adds up to £35 a week, or roughly £150 a month. Now, what do we actually do with that £150 a month? If you just leave it in a standard bank account, inflation is going to quietly erode its purchasing power. To build real wealth, we have to put that money to work in the stock market. Specifically, we want to position this money in front of the biggest technological tidal wave of our generation, the AI revolution. We are currently in the early stages of this boom, which experts project will rapidly expand between 2025 and 2030. But instead of trying to gamble on which individual AI startup will become the next Google, which is incredibly risky, we are going to invest in the foundational companies that are literally building the infrastructure for this revolution. We are going to build a completely automated three-fund portfolio. Think of this as a recipe that perfectly balances high growth potential with global diversification. The first ingredient in our portfolio makes up 60% of the investment, and this goes into the Van Eck Semiconductors Fund. Why semiconductors? Because artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and massive data centers cannot exist without advanced microchips. Companies like NVIDIA design the physical brains that make AI possible. By investing in a semiconductor fund, you are essentially selling the shovels during a gold rush. You own a basket of the most critical hardware companies in the world. The second ingredient makes up 30% of the portfolio, and this goes into the NASDAQ 100. This index tracks the largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange, giving you direct exposure to massive established tech giants like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Tesla. These are the companies deploying AI at an enterprise level and integrating it into the products billions of people use every single day. The final 10% of our portfolio goes into an emerging markets fund, giving you exposure to rapidly growing economies like China and India for an extra layer of global growth. Historically, this specific combination of technology and growth sectors has returned somewhere between 18 to 22% per year. While past performance never guarantees future results, we are positioning this strategy on the very reasonable assumption that the AI and tech boom will continue to drive massive economic value over the next 5 years. So let's look at the actual math and see what happens when you commit to this for the next 5 years. If you stick strictly to your £5 a day, at the end of 5 years, you will likely have a pot worth somewhere between £14,000 and £15,000. But let's say you decide to push yourself slightly. If you increase your contribution by just £1 a day each year, meaning you end year 5 contributing £9 a day, you could be looking at a completely tax-free pot of £17,500 to £18,500. If the AI boom continues stronger than expected, your best-case scenario could push that number all the way up to £21,000. I want to be completely transparent with you, because on this channel, we don't do clickbait or false promises. This specific strategy is not going to magically make you a multi-millionaire overnight, but what it will do is give you an extra £5,000 to £8,000 of pure tax-free profit that you absolutely would not have had otherwise. Over 5 years, you will personally have invested roughly £9,000 to £13,000 of your own money, and the stock market will have done the rest of the heavy lifting for you. That extra money is a dream holiday, a much safer financial safety net, or a fantastic boost to your retirement, generated literally just by skipping a daily coffee. Even in a worst-case scenario where the market underperforms, you are still projected to end up with £11,000 to £13,000, meaning you still turn a profit. Now, let's talk about the practical execution. The quietly wealthy prioritize their time, which means they do not spend hours every week staring at stock charts or manually transferring money. They set up the system once and they walk away. To do this yourself, it takes about 10 minutes. First, you want to download a zero-fee investing app. I personally recommend Trading 212 for this strategy because there are 0 trading fees, meaning every single penny of your £5 goes directly into your investments. I've included an invite link in the description below that you can use to download the app right now and get free fractional shares worth up to $100. Second, when you sign up, make sure you open a Stocks and Shares ISA. This is the absolute magic ingredient for UK investors. An ISA is a government-approved tax wrapper that completely shields your investments from capital gains and dividend taxes. Anything you earn inside this account is yours to keep, tax-free forever. Plus, if you ever have a massive life emergency, you can withdraw your cash in 3 to 4 days. Third, once your account is open, you're going to use the app's Pie feature to build your portfolio. You simply search for the 3 funds we discussed and allocate your percentages: 60% to SMH for your semiconductors, 30% to EQQQ for your NASDAQ 100, and 10% to EMIMI for your emerging markets. The final and crucial step is to turn on the Auto Invest feature. You can set it to pull £5 daily, or if it's easier for your budgeting, £35 every Monday. Once that's switched on, your job is done. You never have to touch it, look at it, or stress about it until you're ready to cash out. The hardest part of building wealth is simply starting, but once that automation is turned on, the entire process takes care of itself. Building wealth is rarely about making one massive, glamorous decision. It's almost always about making tiny, unsexy, boring decisions consistently over a long period of time. By redirecting the money you would normally spend on fleeting, everyday habits into a structured, automated investment vehicle, you are fundamentally changing your financial trajectory. The best time to plant seeds for your future was yesterday, but the absolute second best time is today. If you found this strategy helpful and you're ready to stop playing the status game and start playing the quiet wealth game, please hit that subscribe button right now to join our community. I would love to hear from you, so drop a comment below and let me know what small daily habit you are going to swap out to fund your £5 a day system. Check the description for the link to get your automated